Alrighty, so I got a brief moment of sunshine here, so we're going to try to knock this little test out. It's about to get interesting. You ready? Let me show you what we're doing. Alrighty, so what we got here is an XL-130, 24-inch bar, full house, full chisel, freshly sharpened, fresh set on the raker gauge. So what we're going to do is we're going to make a couple cuts with this XL-130. We're going to run a tack and 2 cameras. Then we're going to take this ported Super XL-130 and basically make a comparison video here. Now this is a 76, that's a 130. If you're familiar with these saws, there's really not much different. I mean, you can see a lot of the parts would interchange. Actually, I think almost every single part will interchange. There's just a few small odds and ends that won't. So this is what we're going to do today though. We're going to compare stock saw against ported saw is what we're going for. Now, I have never ran this XL-130, so hopefully this works out. But if not, you know, we'll just make the best of what we get. Alrighty, so let's get these cameras set up and running and see what happens. Now, I'm going to probably have to do some tuning, so just bear with me doing some of this tuning. Alrighty. Now, I was having a lot of trouble because we got a clutch failure. So we're just gonna have to take what we got. But she was holding about 6,500 RPM in the cut. I can confirm that, which is right in with the spec of the saw. Something in there, it's just not right. It's making a weird sound. I think one of the springs broke in the clutch. So we'll have to fix that here in the future. But let's go ahead and hook up the other one. We got kind of an idea of what a stock saw will do. We'll just get into the good one and rock and roll. Alrighty. There she is. Here's our chips. It's proving to be a challenge to hold that tack. It has to be so close to the spark plug that it's kind of a pain in the butt. This would be easier with another person, if you know what I mean. So I let the chain hit the dirt, so we're gonna have to sharpen it up here real quick before we get a better idea. So, you know, it is what it is. Be back in a sec. Right there at the end, didn't it? Let's take a look. I think I know what the culprit is. Boy, you know, I don't know. Something's not quite there. For starters, the chain's not getting enough oil. I wonder if the oil pump's bad. I got a couple of them. I could just throw another one on. So all I had to do was touch the low speed jet on the carb. As soon as I touched it, it settled right down. I don't know. Something's just not quite right. I got a feeling the carb is too small. The stock carb, because at idle I'm at like 1.5, 1 3/4 turns. So I do got a feeling I might have too small of a carb on here. I might have to go back up to that bigger one. What do you say we do this test again? We'll put the bigger carb back on this, make a little metering lever adjustment on it, and run this test again. I think that's the best way to handle this. I don't know if you can see it, but we hit, what'd we hit here? Max RPM is 1059, but in the cut it was closer to like 9,700 RPM in the cut. And in my experience, whenever you get to the point where you need to have a jet turned out to 1.5, 1 3/4 turn, you start getting a little, you know, kind of start exceeding the volume of what the carb can handle. So we'll start looking into this. Something's just not quite right. You know, I feel like it ran better on the other carb, actually. I do. It's being a pain in the butt to tune with this carb. It's really a pain. It's really finicky. It's even worse. So I'm just gonna have to put that other carb back in it, I think. You know, hey, it is what it is, right? We'll just do what we gotta do and move on to the next. I was convinced it was going to be this carburetor would do it, but it's just not doing it. It's just not. So, hey, we'll catch you on the next one. Alrighty, later.